Hawthorne here. I'm going to make a cocktail called the Love Child. This is a beautiful cocktail, both visually and taste-wise. It uses flavors of strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries with a hint of rose and hibiscus. And I'm going to be using stevia as an alternative sweetener to also make it keto-friendly. So there are a lot of different ways to incorporate those kinds of flavors into cocktails, whether it's muddling or making a syrup. But I'm a big fan of infusions. Infusions make very clean flavors, and the alcohol itself also acts as a preservative, so it lasts a long time. So to get started, I am going to make an infusion with a sous vide. Now, if you don't have a sous vide, that's okay too. You can just throw everything in a mason jar, let it sit out overnight. The disadvantage of a mason jar though is that it just takes a long time. With a sous vide, I can make it in about an hour. So I'm going to start with a cup of frozen berries. When you buy fresh berries at the grocery store, you are buying pretty fruit, not necessarily fruit that's at the peak of its ripeness. So sometimes when you buy those fruits, you may have to wait a day, 2 days, maybe even 3 days before it even reaches its peak of ripeness. Frozen berries, on the other hand, are already picked and flash frozen at the peak of its ripeness. So they may not look that great, but man, they are bursting with flavor. So I'm gonna add 1 cup of berries, frozen berries in there. Another advantage of frozen fruit, any kind of frozen fruit, is that once it starts to thaw out and you mix that with alcohol, the alcohol extracts even more of those natural sugars and flavors with frozen fruit versus fresh. So another advantage of using frozen fruit in infusions. So 2 cups of gin. I'm using Hendricks Gin for this infusion. It has flavors of rose hips and cucumber, and I really want those kind of light, refreshing flavors in this cocktail. So I'm going to add that to my bag. And just for giggles, this already has some rose hips in it, this gin, but I want to enhance those flavors even more, so I'm just going to add a single dried rosebud in there too. All sealed up, I'm just going to drop this in. It's at 155 degrees for about an hour. We'll check on it then. Okay, so it's been about an hour. Let's check out the infusion. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? It's like this beautiful magenta color. Look at even the berries. You could even see how it's like lost its color because all of that color has just come into the infusion. And this was even that dried rosebud. It's even leached the color out of that too. So this is just going to be a pretty spectacular looking cocktail. So let's crack this open. So I'm just going to let this cool off for about half an hour, and then we'll come back and make our cocktail. I'm back, my infusion's cooled off, and I am ready to make this cocktail. So I'm gonna start with that, 1.5 ounces. And I'm gonna use 3/4 of an ounce of a Vermouth de Chambery, 3/4 ounce of Hibiscus Tea, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. And I'm just going to use like a 1/2 teaspoon of honey water. This was just honey that I diluted with water 2 to 1, just to help round out those edges. So just a little bit of a bar spoon. There you go. And then finally my sweetener, my stevia, about 5 to 7 drops. And let's give that a good shake. Double strain that. You look at that beautiful magenta color. That is so lovely. You garnish it with a fresh strawberry slice. That is the Love Child. Delicious. The total net carbs in this cocktail is about 5 grams, which is great, so you could actually have more than one. Cheers, the Love Child.